Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. A $7,000 watch versus a $70 watch. What are the differences? Okay, we're not going to actually do that video today. I'm just making this video because I'm changing watches. I think it's time to get a Rolex on my wrist. I'm really ready, and I've been delaying it, and I'm really looking forward to it. Now, it's not to say I haven't been having fun. I've had this Vostok Bluesy on my wrist for a good 2 weeks, if not more. And I've been trying to regulate these Vostoks. And the one you're looking at with the silver dial, I just couldn't really ever get this one too accurate. I would say plus or minus 30 seconds a day is the best I could get it. And, I fought with it for well over a week. And I just think the beat error could be off, and that's the has to do with the rotation of the balance wheel. Is that what it's called? The balance wheel. But it goes back, and it should go back and forth in equal measure. Okay, so if it's rotating this way, then if the beat error is off, it apparently turns this way and then gets to the center, and then just only goes this far, gets to the center, and then it's not an even rotation of the balance wheel, from what I gather. Anyway, I could invest in a $200 time grapher. I'm tempted whenever I start fiddling with these Vostoks, but it's just not the kind of commitment I want to make to deal with these watches. So I don't think I will. But that's not to say that... Whoop, I took it off my wrist. This wasn't successful, and it was. It's running probably about, depends on the day, really. I would say plus 2 a day if it's not on the wrist. And if it's on the wrist, I'd say about minus 1. So, and I say that because the one thing about Vostoks, and that's very different than something like that Rolex Submariner, is the consistency. If a Rolex is plus 1 second a day, it's going to be plus 1 second a day on your wrist, off your wrist, upside down, on its side. It is just consistent. After a week, it's going to be plus 7 seconds. You can bet on it. After 2 weeks, plus 14 seconds. This, it just depends. It depends on so many factors. I was wearing it at night when I slept, so, probably depended on how I rested it, and, and so it's tough. But basically, I'd say about plus 1 a day overall, which is pretty good. Every now and then it would jump like, plus 3 a day. And after 2 weeks, it was plus 15. So, yeah, that's about an average of 1 second a day. Whereas if you set it down, it really, the time speeds up. And so if I were to, on the wrist, it was about plus 1 a day. But if I were to just leave it like this, it would probably be plus 5 by tomorrow. So anyway, lack of consistency, but I got this Vostok just about as accurate as you can get a Vostok. And it's a fun watch, and I think it's a beautiful watch, and it's fun to play with. And yeah, this is like around a $70 watch, and in a couple weeks of fiddling with it and enjoying it, definitely worth it. But like I said, I'm ready to have a Rolex. And what it really comes down to is you can really enjoy a piece like this, and I made a video about what's to like about a Vostok, and I'll put a link in the description of this video so you can check that out, because there are reasons to like Vostoks and really respect Vostoks. But at the end of the day, I go back to one of my favorite things that Archie has said: it's gotta hurt. It's gotta hurt. And the reason is because we just appreciate watches that are special, and it, for the most part, that comes down to hard to get. And that could be a matter of rarity, but more often than not, it's a matter of money. People just can't go out and get this. I couldn't just, the drop of a hat, replace this and not significantly feel it. Unlike this, I could buy 3 of these tomorrow and, money-wise, I wouldn't even notice it. Not the case with this. And that gives it, well, it makes it special. It makes it desirable. And it makes buying a Rolex quite a commitment. And, anybody, like I said, anybody pretty much watching this video could buy a couple of Vostoks, and that ease of acquisition makes you really not appreciate it. It cuts into that. Perhaps it shouldn't, but it does. But this takes a little bit more work, a little bit more effort. And so to really shell out the money, you really have to want a pre-ceramic no-date sub. Of course, if you're minted, you could buy them left and right, but most people aren't. So it is a special purchase, and because of that, it becomes a very important watch, and it very much is related to the price. But of course, there are other reasons, the historical aspects of Rolex and their place in horology, and the aesthetic and all of that. But anyway, let's wind it. We'll see how many winds it takes. This has been idle for about 2 months, and I planned on I wind my watches once a month, but I took this watch out and I thought, okay, well, I don't need to wind it because I'm going to be wearing it pretty soon. But then this happened, so it went about a month over the typical time that I like to keep them idle. So let's see. Okay, so 14, 15, 16 lines. And a 2-line sub with no date, that's something I really like. The minimalist style without the COSC statement. And this is 1996 T serial, and you can see, let's look at the serifs on the word Submariner. And there are also serifs on the minute markers at the indices. Check that out. I can't get too close, but you can see, look at the 10 up here, and you can see there's a little serif. That's something I really noticed when I got my loop. Of course, this is a tritium dialed watch. You can see that below the 6. And it actually still glows a little bit. And I had this serviced at RSC, and you can see on the Mercedes hand, well, I hesitate calling it the Mercedes hand because that's really not a Mercedes symbol. Made a whole video about that. But you can see that the tritium is a little bit uneven, and I think that is, there might be just a few atoms of tritium before you would see maybe a tiny little hole. And yeah, so, and then of course I had the bezel insert changed out, so that's a Luminova pip, and that would be something I would criticize if somebody sent me a watch to review and told me they had done that. I'd say, oh man, you shouldn't have done that. But we all make our mistakes, and it's just part of the learning process. And I've thought about replacing the bezel insert, but I think Blue Shirt Buddha put it best. He was like, it's just part of the watch. It's just part of the history of the watch. Just let it go. You really can't get it back. You can sort of try to get a tritium bezel insert, but you're gonna know it's not the real one, not the one it was born with. And I think he's right. It's just so it's a choice to just kind of be happy with this perfect bezel insert. And I gotta say, it is beautiful. Look at that. All right, so one of the great things about a no-date watch is they're so easy to set. Not like Rolexes are a big deal because you can use the quick set option. On many of them, most of them have it, but you really realize when you have a three-hander how simple it is. All right, and this is dead accurate, so I can actually, well, what is it, 4, 10, we'll try to do it really quickly. I'll be a little bit behind, but I tell you what, we'll catch it. We'll catch it when it turns to 4:11. Here's the alignment of my crown. All right, so there we go. Let's throw it on. And I haven't had, Rolex on my wrist in a long time. And I got to say, one great thing about having the Vostoks is that when your watch hits a door jamb, as they always do, it's kind of tight, I'll have to let that out a bit. You look down and you think, oh man, okay, it's just a Vostok, cool. And you don't have to worry about it at all. So the question is the Rolex worth over 6,000 USD more than this Vostok? And the short answer is no. No, absolutely not. I mean, this watch, it's a little bit more all over the place in terms of accuracy. You have to fiddle with it a little bit more. You can just sort of strap this one on and forget it. But if you just look at the objects in and of themselves, this watch on the left is not worth thousands more. What you're paying for is you're paying for the experience. You're paying for how the watch makes you feel. And you're paying all that money because it helps you appreciate the watch. Or it helps you get a watch that you appreciate. But as far as thousands more worth of watch, absolutely not. I mean, like I said, pretty accurate, takes a little bit more effort, a little bit more fiddling, but this watch can pretty much do exactly what this watch can do. But this watch here won't make you feel anywhere near as elated to have it on as this one. So it's got to hurt, and that's part of it. And anyway, wow. So I'll have to get a toothpick and you have to let that out a little bit. Either I'm hot or fat or both. I don't know. I think I'm hot. Wow, that's a tight fit. All right, anyway, it's been a while. No date sub. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and put a comment in the comment section reacting to the video. Be somebody.